The first night race of the 2005 NASCAR Nextel Cup Series season came at a track that had never seen one for Cup before, Phoenix International Raceway. This jewel of the Sonoran Desert has been the Copper State's home to big-time auto racing for years, but has recently seen many changes, most notably the removal of the infield grass and the reconfiguration to today's start-finish location and for the pit lane. Go back about 20 years, however, and Phoenix's humble beginnings come back into focus as we turn the camera back to this older version of Phoenix Raceway, the track where I first experienced that which is NASCAR, the true Phoenix International Raceway. Welcome to Pit Stop TV and to the virtual Avondale, Arizona. My name, as always, is Andrew Cardinale IV with Zach Murtis back alongside as we've had all season long. And today's coverage is brought to you by Harpoon Designs, by NORA, and by Whiplash Simcams. Zach, I always say, I'm excited for some of the road courses. I like street courses personally, so Montreal sounds fun to me. Those racetracks are still going to be top of my list. However, I always forget just how much I love coming to this version of Phoenix Raceway. Now, at least Phoenix Raceway, the true original Phoenix International Raceway. Something about this place, it connects for me. This is where I first experienced NASCAR. This racetrack means so much to me, and I always forget that until we have a lead that comes here, and oh man, this feels good today.
Yeah, I love how we just went from last night in the ARN, or yesterday morning, ARN to the track that I first experienced racing, to now coming to here to the track you first experienced racing. And I do miss the layout that this old Phoenix Raceway had. It was somewhat of a niche, I'll say. Not to mention, they hosted more than just NASCAR. Heck, they hosted IMSA back in the day on the infield road course, and I'm excited to see what these guys have for us tonight.
Well, let's be fair. It was Grand Am back then, but yes, Grand Am did race here, and you had a lot of great racing here. The Copper State Classic. I mean, a lot of great races, and I think the grass helped make it what it was at the time. And you see the grass there on the track map. That's what the green is. I felt it was necessary for this track map. I really felt that gave a lot more context than just plopping the track map down, just the outlines and stuff. I think the grass really adds a lot of context to show you what this track used to be way back in the day. And man, I will never forget the sights and sounds from that first race that I ever attended in the NASCAR Cup Series. But let's move on with tonight's show. We'll talk more about that later on. Point standings as we come into this evening's race, and then we'll get into the sim and check that out. There you go, Hunter Sr. on top. And some of the chase is actually coming into focus, I think, Zach, because we now have somebody within this graphic that is more than 400 points behind the leader. We also, I think, have a lot more of the actual race-winning players towards the front. I would say Dustin Kleba is kind of the one that's the outlier right now, just because he missed the last couple of weeks, so he's fallen well down the order to 17th. But otherwise, it feels a lot more, I think, natural to have guys like Vincent Arthur finally on that left side of the page. Ryan Housden has had some great runs. He's now within chase contention. I think a lot of these guys, the cream is slowly rising to the top, and this feels like the first race where this is actually kind of a clear picture as to who might actually be fighting for a championship this season.
It's full well possible. I do see some guys below the cut line that have inched closer, notably Vincent Arthur, Dustin Kleba, Jared Skinner, the three winners that are outside of that cut line. But don't count out guys like Brady Motes either. He's been having some good runs, just got caught up a little bit in Texas last week. Hopefully he'll be able to rebound going into tonight. But I think there's going to be some strong contenders.
Now, I did mention that this race was a night race for the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series back in 2005, and that's true. It was the first night race of the season. It was also the very first night race for Phoenix International Raceway for the NASCAR Nextel, or now NASCAR Cup Series. However, Zach, for whatever reason, this track has been neglected a little bit, and we don't have working lights on the sim. So as practice wraps up here, let's quickly see who's fast. It is Dalton Tucker. He won last week, back on top of the speed charts today. But we do not have lights, unfortunately, so we are kind of working within some restrictions within the sim. You'll see the time jump back here in a second, a little bit earlier in the day, and then these guys are going to race right back into sunset. So there you go. We've got the sun back overhead, but as this race goes on, it is going to get much later in the sim day. And we got a lot to talk about. We'll unpack it very soon. But first, Zach, as drivers head to the grid here at Phoenix International Raceway. Let's see if I can get a driver that's actually on the grid. There we go. We can go ahead and take a look at your ATVO starting grid. And on pole, Ryan Housen in car 15 will lead us to the green today. I just shouted him out at the standings, Zach. He is working on something lately. That 15 car is suddenly a race-winning contender. He'll start alongside his teammate, Dalton Tucker. Back in row 2, it's Josh Conover in the 48 alongside Chase Durham. Excuse me, back in row 3, you'll find Kevin Baumler and Brian Jones, who's got a win earlier this season at Atlanta. Back in row number 4, it's Kenneth Chaney alongside Cody Anderson. A couple of drivers who've been very close to wins, have not gotten one yet. Watch out for them, and then certainly as well for these two guys, Ronnie Norman and Brady Motes, both, I think, are getting closer and closer to putting their cars in victory lane.
Rolling outside the top 10, you'll find Kyle Tubb and Hunter Sr. Sr. was one of the drivers highest in the power rankings, looking to continue his strong start to the season. Right behind them in 13th and 14th position, you'll find Brendan Maddox in the 34 and Jake Christenberry to his outside in that number 11. Right behind them, 15th and 16th on the grid, Matthew George and Wayne Sparks, two drivers who I would figure would be closer to the front, but they'll have to work their way forward as the race goes on. Right behind them in the 17th and 18th position, you'll find Dustin Stallings and Nick Ham, and to round out our top 20 is John Skavnicki and Craig Martin.
And from 21st position today, Nick Geilis in the number 28. Jacob Gladulich rolls off the grid in 22nd spot. Back in 23rd, it's John Border. 24th goes to Samuel Longworth in that number 29. Back in 25th, it's Cody Smith. He has fallen down the order a bit in the point standings lately. Hopefully he can get back up there soon. Donald Kite from 27th, and seems like maybe the positions are a little bit out of order back here, but you'll see 28th for Joey Stats, 29th for Noah Blackwell. Again, these are a little bit out of order. I'm not sure who was scratched from the starting lineup, but there you go. Jason Steptoe, and Aaron Longworth making up the back end of the field. And as we roll off the grid today, hopefully that was a nice refreshed ATVO grid graphic. We have more updates on the way. For now, though, the Whiplash SimCam's race details. 187 laps here today, a 300-kilometer race, 187 miles, 77% fuel for these guys, 10 change sets. It is the same formula we've come to expect now from this series, Zach. The big thing, though, is going to be that time of day. There you see, 4:17 in sim on March the 22nd. It is going to get very, very close to sunset here this evening. I do believe we're going to be good. I do believe we'll have sunlight, at least for the most part, all race long, but it is going to be dangerously close here today. So as these drivers should get one more pace lap, they will. Zach, let's take a look at one of my favorite graphics of the broadcast, the Clark Contracting Power Rankings. And here you go. Hunter Sr. back on top. Josh Conover now up 4 spots into second. I love this extra bit of context now. The positions gained and lost, because you see Kleba down 4, Jones down 4, Smith down 4. That's significant.
Absolutely. I'm just going to be watching a lot of these drivers that are included in the power rankings tonight, seeing how things go and seeing how it all plays out. This is going to be a difficult track. Once you come off of turn 2, it snaps loose and it shakes a little bit through the dog leg with how loose it gets, so you got to be mindful. And these guys that are up there in the power rankings, they're going to be the ones to watch and how they handle these race cars. But lights are out, Andrew. The pace car is ready to take that hard left turn, and we're ready to go racing.
We'll turn things over to the hands of driver 15. Ryan Housden going to lead us to the green today for 300 kilometers at Phoenix International Raceway. The way Phoenix should be. Into the restart zone. Ryan Housden going to lead us to the green for the NORA Retro Cup Series at Phoenix. We are racing in the Copper State. On our weekly Who You Got post, we put in a couple of drivers that the focus, I think, is truly on at this point in the season. That's going to be the 48 and 16. 21 years ago, those two cars were top of the point standings. Josh Conover, Chase Durheim, the drivers of those cars here in the NORA Retro Cup Series. They are 3rd and 4th here, 1 lap complete at Phoenix, as Ryan Housden takes us through the motions.
Single file up off of turn number 4. Nowadays, that's turn number 2 when the front stretch is in a different spot, but that is still turn number 4. And Housen's going to go purple that time, trying to take commanding lead as Durheim trying to find a way to move forward as he's looking around. Josh Conover going through the dogleg.
I know Josh was working on the weather conditions, trying to get us a hot race. Let's check those out. Brought to you by MXWraps.com. 86.2 degrees in the air. Look at that track temp, though, 97. That's getting up there. And that humidity, that's a staple for Arizona, man. 8.1%. Usually, we see 50 to 80 or 90 even. 8.1%. I have not seen single digits humidity yet since we refreshed that graphic.
Isn't that normal for Arizona? Just a bunch of dry heat, not a lot of humidity?
Yes, it is.
You would know.
That said, Zach, an oven is a dry heat.
It's an oven inside a race car, I can tell you that for certain.
These guys contending with not just the racetrack, but also a bit of the elements today. But watching around the field so far, very single file, even down through about 15th position here with Kyle Tubb and Wayne Sparks. This is for the 13th spot rather. And Tubb will drop a spot back as he has refreshed that paint scheme on the 32 car. And will now fall into the hands of the number 11 of Jake Christenberry. Christenberry is a driver, too, that lately, Zach, I feel like is getting closer and closer to some big breakaway runs. I don't know about a win necessarily just yet for Jake, but I feel like when he is able to run here on this series, he's been getting better and better.
He has been improving steadily over the course of the last few weeks in average running position. He has run some strategy calls that have put him towards the front. Ultimately, they didn't play out in his favor, but I think Atlanta was a good showing out of those ones. He's looking right behind him. Dustin Stallings on the outside of Skavnicki. They're racing for position right now. That is just a little bit further down, but Wayne Sparks to the inside of Brendan Maddox.
Yeah, that's the battle I was looking at. Even before that moment, as Dustin Stallings is around, the 96 that you were just looking at. So problems here for the BRB Sundance Pro Series Season 3 and Season 4 champion. As Dustin goes around here early in this 187-lap race. We'll take a look at it here. He was racing with Skavnicki, as you mentioned, coming off of turn 4. Near contact between those two Fords. And then down here to turn number 1, Skavnicki down low. A little too low, I feel like. And yeah, the car is straightened up. Got up into the 96. A quick and lazy spin. Nobody hit him. Whoa, that was close, though, Zach.
There's your first nomination of the day, then, for Murtis Esports Murtis Mega Miss. That was a close one.
Let's see it from the driver's eye point of view of Jason Steptoe. Oh, it even scraped. So the sim thought they would have made contact, but visually, no contact. I don't see any damage on the 0-1, but that was awfully close.
That was very, very close.
In true Phoenix fashion, we're seeing some pit stops. I think this might just be for fuel. I don't think you need tires here.
Surprising to see Conover in the pit lane. He was running further up.
And yet Josh is going to take tires. Baumler as well. Wayne Sparks and others coming in for 4 Goodyear Eagles and heading back out here in just a moment. I'm surprised by the tire calls.
I'm really surprised.
I mean, I figure with 10 sets, though, Zach, to be fair, if you're going to pit here to make sure you're good on fuel, you may as well grab a set. I don't think there's any harm in that.
Remind me again how many sets they get?
10 change sets. It's essentially unlimited.
I I wouldn't say unlimited, but
well, I mean that's the idea. You know, the NASCAR Cup teams at the time were able to buy sets off of other teams, and they already had a huge Goodyear tire allotment, so it was essentially unlimited to them. And the idea here is to make sure these guys have the same kind of opportunity. Yes, you still want to manage your tires when you're racing green flag, but I do think these guys appreciate being able to pretty much always be able to hit the pit lane and grab a new set of tires throughout the course of the race. I know there's multiple ideologies on that front, but I don't mind this. For the time, it works. Just like the single file restart thing. I don't know that it works as well in 2026, but I think for the time, considering this is a 2005 NASCAR season, basically, I think it makes sense for these guys to run single file restarts and such. And so we will do that here with 10 laps complete of 187. Ryan Housden going to lead us back to the restart zone, fan cam style, just for you, Brendan. Green flag. One lap complete off of the restart. Had some special guests there over in turns 3 and 4. We do have a problem, though, for Josh Conover. He is in the pit lane, Zach. I don't see any damage on that car, but he immediately, as soon as we went green, stopped and towed that car to the pit lane, it seems. Actually, he might have driven it down. He did. Let's see. This is the replay coming to the restart for Josh Conover in the 48.
something's got to be going on with that 48 car.
This screams real-life issue to me. Remember, he's got a newborn child. Just over a month old.
Very, very true. He just pulled it right down.
Yeah, this screams real-life issue. This is more important than the sim. I'm going to go handle it. That's exactly what that looks like to me. Hopefully all is well for the Conovers, but 13 laps complete now. The number 15 leading the way still, Ryan Housden. I don't know where this speed has come from, Zach, but I'm not complaining. It's good to see a new, fresh face towards the front of the field, especially in this car. I do enjoy seeing the Napa 15 towards the front.
I enjoy it myself. I like seeing these DEI cars up at the front of the field, doing their best to stay competitive.
And
Tucker just won last week, too, so this is a good consistent speed out of that 3 car.
It is, and if you go back to 2005, one of the main headlines, especially for DEI, was that there was basically a staff change-up, a team switch between the 8 and 15 cars, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Michael Waltrip, and basically swapped crew members, and that included cars. So Dale Jr. had won the last 2 races at Phoenix International Raceway at the time in 2004. He was actually trying to repeat and go for 3 straight at Phoenix in 05, but Michael Waltrip got his car at the time and ran well with it, even though Jr. also ran well. So it's interesting to see the 15 run so well here with Ryan Housden behind the wheel, because there was kind of an injection of speed into that 15 crew. Michael Waltrip got a bunch of good cars that Junior had nearly won the championship with the year prior, so he was running well. And I think I mentioned that at Atlanta a handful of weeks ago. Again, here at Phoenix, a racetrack where Junior was good in 04, and Waltrip was pretty solid in 05, and it's in the racetrack where Housden looks pretty good. I don't know if there's any correlation with that. I think I'm digging a little too deep into my NASCAR database, Zach, but it's at least cool to think about.
That it is. We have been reminiscing quite a bit in this series, I'll say.
And we're going to continue. I hope everybody's ready for it. Many more weeks of NASCAR nostalgia on the way here on Monday nights. On board with Dalton Tucker, lap 18 in the books this time by. He's running second. Chase Durheim third, as we got some battles deeper in the field. Here's one with Cody Smith, and I almost said Dale Jarrett. That is going to be Nick Ham in the number 88. Oh, contact there. Watch out, gentlemen. Meanwhile, battle here. A couple of Fords. I guess technically a Dodge on the inside. That is the Penske 28 of Nick Geilis. Of course, that is a kind of fantasy car in this regard. But these guys are allowed to make some team changes. Uh-oh! Noah Blackwell! Wayne Sparks, inside wall damage for both of them. Caution is out.
That's a big hit right there. Well, maybe not too big a hit. Well, that's going to be some front-end damage to the 99 car.
They made contact coming off the corner. You'll see that here. Blackwell got up and then came down. It's like the car was trying to step out on him just a little bit. Sparks did a great job of locking it down as far as he could. Let's see if we can go on board here with Blackwell. A little free. Yep. You saw that correction back to the right. Just a little bit free for him off the corner. Sparks looks okay. His car honestly looks nearly untouched. Blackwell really is going to bear the brunt of this caution, this incident. And Zach, I think I may have found the car that was not on the grid. And this is another unfortunate step in the 24 cars history this season. Whereas Jeff Gordon already had a couple of wins. Yes, Vincent has one, but it has been consistent bad luck and bad circumstance for Vincent here this year. I don't know what he's got to do to shake it. I don't know what the situation was here today, but did not make the start of the race, it looks like, and is already 18 laps down, just got into the sim.
It looks like he's going to go get a lap back here. It's helpful when there's no cars 1 lap down, so he'll just keep working at it, see what he can get the entire race.
The drop in the bucket, but you got to start somewhere. A lot of pit stops here. This will leave just one car on the racetrack that is not yet pitted at all. That is Brian Jones in the XPEL Dodge / Ford. He will lead us back to the green here in a moment, so long as he holds onto that spot. All of the cars right behind him have pitted. That's going to be Nick Geilis, Cody Smith, Nick Ham, Jacob Gladulich, John Skavnicki, and Aaron Longworth, making his second start of the year in that number 41. But any deeper than that, it's a bunch of guys who just got a bunch of brand new tires. Chase Durheim there is actually the first of the drivers who just pitted. So Zach, he won the race off the pit lane. How did he do it? Well, there you go. 2 tires for car 16. That puts him just ahead there of Ryan Housden. It might be worth it short term. I don't know that it's going to be a worthy move long term, Zach. I don't think I would have done that this early, but it is worth it, I think, in one regard, and that's to know how your car is going to handle 2 tires here today in race conditions. That might be some good knowledge for Chase down the road.
Honestly, I think 2 tires is a good strategy call. We're only 23 laps in. It's best to test the waters and see what you can figure out on the car now rather than, I don't know, lap 150.
Well, the iRacing.com safety car has decided it's time to turn this field loose. And we'll head back down to the relative safety of pit lane. Here we go. Restart formation for Brian Jones and the rest of the field. Green flag once again at Phoenix. It was not a great start there for the 28. Easy hole shot there to the number 45. But everybody's battling now off of turn number 4. 1 lap complete off of the restart. There's some great battles further back. A pass there between Joey Stats and Wayne Sparks. Stats falls back. Also, Ryan Housden, Aaron Longworth, they swap spots. Dalton Tucker started to work his way through. Chase Durheim is up to 6th, but this is the rest of the fresh tire cars starting to move their way through this field. Tucker on the inside of Longworth. That's going to bring Cheney. That's going to bring Anderson. And then Brady Moats as well back in 13th.
Like to see that 16 moving forward. He's creating some distance between the guys that are on 4 compared to his 2. Brady Moats trying to find a way around the 2 in front of him. It's such tight racing off of turn number 4.
He's got pressure from behind as well. He cannot slip up. Hunter Sr., 2-time winner this season, just behind Brady. So as he sticks it to the inside of the 41 car, and Longworth gives him that spot for now, maybe. Yes, there we go. Look at Brendan Maddox now in the picture. He's going to have to check up, though. The 41 going backwards on the top side of the racetrack. And look at this battle. Gladjulich, Tucker, Skavnicki, and how about some Kenneth Cheney action in that 14 car? They're all bottled up behind the 88 of Nick Ham. Ryan Housden in this group as well. Ham up the racetrack, checked up big time. That's going to get 2 cars by him. That's going to hold up, though. Everybody else behind, who is 3 wide now with Moats, Skavnicki, and Anderson.
Almost 3 wide racing. Look at Maddox around the outside. Moats
A lot going on. We had 3 wide there with Gladjulich for a moment as well. I mean, there is a ton happening right here around all of these cars. A 33, 34, 88, 8, 4, 20, 38, 14, 81, 7, all in this group.
The old and the new tires mixing together. Contact.
Maddox and Ham.
Way down the racetrack.
Gladjulich nearly got into Anderson. Now Senior puts a bumper maybe to Ham. These guys are really racing, and this racetrack is allowing it, Zach. I think this racetrack, sure, there are good qualities to the repave and reconfiguration and everything at Phoenix Raceway today. But, man, I don't think you can replace the magic that this racetrack held. Up front, though, Brian Jones still has not yet pitted today, but he is starting to feel the pressure from Chase Durheim. That 16 is getting closer and closer, so while the great racing happens mid-pack, we've got to turn our attention here to this lead battle, because Chase Durheim is coming in a hurry, Zach. 30 complete, make it 31. Oh, Guylas got the wall hard.
Yeah, he collected it hardcore. Housed into the inside. He's trying to bring Tucker with him. Up front, though, here's the fight for the lead. Jones trying to find a way to defend as much as he possibly can.
Chase Durheim looking high there in 3 and 4. Now low off the corner. Oh, that was brilliant stuff there out of Chase, but Jones able to still defend down the front stretch. I definitely feel like Brian Jones is a contender for the championship this season. He is oh so calculated, oh so smooth. Chase Durheim working against one of the best in the series right now to try and get this lead away. Near contact there in 3 and 4. Chase Durheim gets another run off of the corner. Going to be just about even with the 45 there across the stripe. Brian Jones did lose the lead technically that time. And now we'll slot in behind the Subway number 16. Tries to fight back just a little bit. No dice. Maybe. No. Not into turn 3 here. I will say, Zach, for what, 30 lap old tires, 34 lap old tires, the 45 still looks pretty good out there.
Put up one heck of a fight as Housden knocks the wall down a little bit. Now we're starting to see where these 2 and 4 tires are going to fall into play, because if you take a look at Housden, there's a bit of a gap to Brian Jones, but now they've got a bit more clean air. They'll be able to see what those 4 tires can do, and if they'll be able to track down Durheim.
And these guys had a lot more battling to go through back there with those other cars. But they have gotten through, Housden and Tucker. Now Guylas trying to hold the 14 at bay. That is Kenneth Cheney, who is on the same strategy as those 2 ahead. This is the battle currently for 5th position. Cody Smith kind of in between these battles as Anderson and Maddox do battle once again.
The side-by-side action up there is just allowing Maddox to reel these guys in. He got a good run off of turn number 4. Here comes Housden. Big move down to the bottom. Jones runs it high to be defensive. He'll have a good run off of 2. I was so tempted to say 4.
Thankfully, I'm not. My brain is still in old Phoenix formation, and I love that because today it gets put to good use. Off of turn 4 here. Ryan Housden and Brian Jones, side-by-side battle for 2nd position. And that 15, I don't think, is going to be denied this spot. Oh, watch out, though. He tracked up tight that time off of turn 2, but it works out to Ryan's advantage. Brian Jones now falling back to 4th position as Dalton Tucker follows on through and takes over 3rd spot here at Phoenix International Raceway. What a race so far. This has been a lot of throwback-style racing. Like, this is just a good old race at your local 1 mile Phoenix International Raceway. Battle here. Cody Anderson on the inside will get by Nick Geilis. Geilis, though, not wanting to give anything else up. He's going to bottle up the 34, the 8, the 42, the 4. All of these guys.
You know, Andrew, I gotta ask you, just because we're seeing different drivers have different luck on different areas of the racetrack, what do you prefer? Do you think you can run the outside line and be better here, or run that yellow line and just rip it around? Is that Geilis going up?
Yeah, Brendan Maddox just doored the heck out of the 28 car in turn 1. They've been working Geilis over for laps on laps, and that time they made big contact in 1 and 2. We can get a chance here. I want to try and get a replay, but I need this battle to fizzle out a little bit, and it looks like it will. So let's go back and look at what just happened down in turns 1 and 2 a lap ago. Watching the 34 and 28. Metallic blue 34 on the inside. Big dive there. Tried the slider. Geilis got back alongside. I mean, it worked out for Maddox, but Nick Geilis is not going to be happy with that. And so these guys soldier on. By the way, Dalton Tucker has gotten by Ryan Housden, but they are now 1.6 seconds behind Chase Durham. We'll keep an eye on those leaders as we take a look deeper in the field. Ronnie Norman, another driver, Zach, that I feel like is getting closer and closer to a win. Here he is in the number 7, running right around the top 10. And I know for sure, if we pull this graphic back up once again, the Clark Contracting Power Rankings, I know for sure I had Ronnie Norman in my top 10 the last 2 weeks. He has really been catching my eye. I'm not sure what it is about the number 7, but he has definitely been drawing my attention at the very least. And it just makes me wonder, when is that win going to come for the Robbie Gordon-esque Chevrolet?
I'm sure it'll come sooner than you think. Heck, it could be tonight. Never count anybody out, Andrew. It's a long season. There's a lot of races. There's so much that could actually happen.
Baumler bombs into turn 3. Big contact there. That is for the 12th spot. Moves the 28 of Geilis back up the racetrack. And poor Nick Geilis has me thinking, what do I have to do to not get hit by these guys? He does have some teammates out there. Kyle Rochelle in the 2, for example, or sorry, the 12. And Rochelle not here today. Joey Stats is here, though, in the 77. That's a teammate to Nick Geilis. We also do not have the 2 of Christopher Heights. So he is flying mostly solo, but Stats is around here and there. Some battles further back. Dustin Stallings, Matthew George. How about Donald Kite getting into it? Kite throws it low there in turn 1. Gets to the inside of George. And the 25 will fall back to 23rd. Jason Steptoe has called it a day. I'm unsure as to why. Zach didn't see anything with the 0-1, but he is out. And will soon be losing a spot to to Vincent Arthur. As Brian Jones loses another spot. This is going to be kind of Cheney now. So as we get back towards the leaders, keep an eye on your top 2. I'm not saying we're going to see a lead change just yet, but I am watching that number 3.
I'm watching that 16 extend that gap.
It hasn't been extending, that's my point. It was 1.7 seconds a bit ago. It came down to about 1.2. Now it's floated back up to about 1.4. It's kind of ebbing and flowing. It had come down for a handful of laps. Now I wonder if Tucker heated his tires up, and now it's starting to grow again. But for a few laps there, that gap was coming down. Brian Jones, pit lane. Obviously not what you want to have to do. But we were told that fuel runs today would run about 50 to 60 laps. And this is right on the forward edge of that. Now, certainly he would have had time to save some fuel and extend this tank out to about probably 65 or 70 if he really wanted to with those cautions. But, oh, problems there for the 77 car. Joey Stats off the pace. What is going on here?
Oh my goodness, look at that damage.
A significant moment at some point in recent events here for the 77. There goes Cheney on by. It's tricky, Zach. Without the paved apron and everything here at Phoenix, it's hard to get out of the way.
That it is. Not a lot of space to give way to others.
Stats will find refuge, though, on the inside. And now, contact between he and Border is the cause of this. No caution for it. But Border just gave him a shot there in the left rear, and Joey not able to keep it out of the wall.
That's such a classic Phoenix incident. Just watching a car go straight right there. My mind floats to seeing Matt Kenseth do it, I think it's 2013 or 2014.
So major contact and damage for driver 77. And that will put him in the pit lane for some time, if not behind the wall, at some point here today. The gap out ahead has now stabilized between the 16 and 3, but the gap between the 3 and 15 might be coming down a bit. Ryan Housden starting to track down his teammate in that number 3 car, so we could have another fight here for second place. And since it's a quote that we heard after the NASCAR Cup Series race at Darlington yesterday, Ryan Blaney talking about how you could let a guy go and say, I'll see you in 20 laps. Is that maybe what's happening here with Ryan Housden and Dalton Tucker? Housden maybe feeling like he has maybe a better long-run car, saying, sure, Dalton, go ahead, run the short run, but I'm going to come back to you.
You never know. We've still got so many laps left, and I keep saying that, but laps are honestly ticking off tonight. They are going by in a hurry. The gap is starting to extend, though. We're getting close to about 2 seconds between Tucker and Durheim.
The 3 is definitely now falling off. He's starting to lose pace, that 16 car. Which, again, go back to the pit stops there under that last caution, and Durheim, of course, took 2.
2 tires is starting to look like it was a good deal. I told you I like the strategy call, Andrew, and it's working in his favor.
By the way, Chance Durheim not here this evening. That is Chase's brother. They have run, I believe, every of the same races. To this point, I believe they have not missed one until tonight with Chance out of the race, not here today. So that number 17 going to drop even further down the standings, unfortunately. Meanwhile, battle for 7th. Brendan Maddox, Hunter Sr. And, you know, when Maddox wanted to join the series, I had no clue how he was going to stack up against these guys. Sure, he's great in his own regard on Tuesdays in the BRB Sundance Pro Series, but we really only know him for running NASCAR Cup cars and ARCA cars. Here he is now in the 2003 car. He's doing a pretty bang-up job lately. He and Dustin Stallings both have been really fun to watch. Brendan, though, starting to have better results as he is wrestling with our two-time race winner so far this season. That is Hunter Sr. A pit stop in the midfield, though. Cody Smith heading to the pit lane. He's going to bring Blackwell with him as well as these guys continue fighting with just over 130 to go. As we get into some single file long run formation, I want to give a big thank you to our partners this season with the NORA Retro Cup Series. Of course, Harpoon Design, their logo top right. Brantley Rodden does a fantastic job with his wrap company. As there's a pass now. No, never mind. Hunter Sr. backs out. But Brantley Rodden really does a fantastic job with iRacing paint schemes and has some connections with a lot of the real NASCAR Cup Series teams and NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series teams, I believe, and releases a bunch of official paint schemes that those teams and drivers use on the weekends. So he puts those on Trading Paints. You can use them on your iRacing account. And Brantley just does a whole bunch of great work in general on iRacing within paint schemes and such. And somebody that I have definitely looked up to for a long time when it comes to painting iRacing vehicles. So good to have Brantley on board this season, allowing us to step in and take coverage of the NORA Retro Cup Series in 2026. A big thank you as well to Clark Contracting jumping on board this season for our power rankings, as there's contact there between the 34 and the 4. That's going to bring Baumler on the inside of Maddox now for the 8th spot rather. Maddox starting to fall back just as quickly as we were talking about him. One more set of thank yous that's going to go to our partners here at the channel: Whiplash Simcams, MXWraps.com, ATVO, Murtis Esports, CC's Business, and the North American Racing League. This is fun to watch so far.
Maddox doing his best to not get swallowed up.
Oh, watch out!
Baumler's gonna get into him!
Baumler made contact with the 34. Everybody able to miss, even Vincent Arthur. There goes Smith on the inside. What a catch, by the way, out of Brendan Maddox. Lock that car down, get it back under control, keep on moving. As Baumler just created a whole logjam there off of turn 2. That brought Ronnie Norman to the top 10. Kyle Tubb is here. The 42 and 24 passing the number 7. Neither of them were on the lead lap, but the 42 has pitted and is trying to put those tires to good use. More pit stops here. Nick Geilis into the pit lane and into his box. Should be foreign fuel, I would imagine. So pit stops ramping up as we enter some of the mid portions of this race. And the gap out ahead still getting larger and larger. Chase Sturheim starting to walk further away from Dalton Tucker. Ryan Housden, by the way, just as quickly as we thought he might be getting better in this run, he has fallen off. The 15 has just about lost sight of the number 3.
Not typically a short track per se. Kenneth Chaney has moved himself up into the 4th spot. This is the fight further on back, though.
Pit stop.
In the pit lane.
The 29 of Longworth is in.
Missed
his box slightly, yep, but had to back up into it. We've got 120 laps and then some coming up. These guys about to actually hit 122 right there to go. And if we look at the schedule, Zach, for this season, we haven't done so yet tonight. Here it is. Opened up at Daytona, on through the typical opening races for a 2005 style schedule. California, Las Vegas, Atlanta, Bristol, Martinsville, Texas, now Phoenix. Next up for these guys, back to plate racing. We're going back to Talladega next week. It feels kind of early in the season for it, but it fits in where they typically would have run at Talladega in the spring. Then it's out to Darlington, Richmond, and then Charlotte in May. So a lot of great racetracks coming up. Some big ones for sure. Talladega, that's going to be exciting. Darlington, a driver's racetrack, just like Charlotte and Richmond. Certainly Dover as well. So a lot of great races coming up. But Zach, pit stops, they are picking up. Maddox is in. Christenberry's in. Aaron Longworth back into the pit lane. He has not been out there. Actually, he has been out there for a while. So this seems to be a scheduled stop for car 41. I was initially mistaken there. Brennan Maddox grabbing 4 tires. He's down and away. And maybe a battle starting to spark up at 33 and the 8. This is for 5th.
Spark up or just getting started. Well, those two technically mean the same thing, so... Look at Anderson getting a little free off of 4. Big dive to the bottom by Moats. He's going to slide it on up. I've never been a huge fan of diving it hard into the corner in turn 1 because it just pinches that entry and you just have to rotate the car more and more. I feel like that outside line is just way more beneficial.
And so Brady Moats gets on by the 33 of Cody Anderson. That is good for 5th position. Anderson now has to contend with that 42 of Smith. Gladulus going to hit the pits. Now, of course, it was Tony Stewart who won the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series Championship back in 2005. Do we think Gladulus can consistent his way to a championship here this season?
We'll have to wait and see. We've seen how consistent that Tony car can be. We've seen it, well, beforehand, honestly, in the, oh my goodness, Icon Cup Series. There it is. Kind of snuck his way, backed it into the chase.
The cam also grabbing service as now about 10 drivers have pitted under green. One of them being Brian Jones, who's out ahead of the 16 currently. He has made up a bunch of time with those newer tires. When do we see these leaders come in? I think in the next 10 laps or so, Zach. I think these guys can go at least 5 more. Now from there, well, here we go. Leader in. Chase Durheim going to pit a little bit early.
Tucker stays out to take the race lead. We've seen what the short pitting can do and how these tires can just create such a huge advantage. Now this sets the precedent for Tucker. When does he decide to come on in?
And I'm surprised really nobody else came with the 16 that lap. Tucker are going to keep on going, it looks like. I will say these guys have historically so far this season kind of done their own thing, not too worried about the undercuts. And admittedly, it has been working. We've seen some winning strategies come out of that kind of thing so far this season. I don't know that I would panic if I was any of these guys. I know we traditionally think as soon as the leader comes in, you want to be close behind, but let's wait and see, Zach.
Still staying out on the racetrack.
Meanwhile, behind a train of cars here, this is a battle for 9th. Kevin Baumler in the 81, Kyle Tubb in the 32. Good to report that it does seem like the Conover household is okay. Josh chiming in the YouTube chat. Of course, we saw his number 48 at the pit lane a little bit ago as one car is pitting. That is Vincent Arthur. He is 17 laps down, kind of a non-concern right now. But it does seem like things are okay for the Conover household, and certainly we hope to see the 48 back on track and towards the front again soon. This battle continues on, the 32 versus the 81. This is for position number 10. And Zach, if we had stage racing, this might be a little bit more important, but without stages, this is kind of just another spot on the racetrack right now.
Yeah, back in 2005, it was just straight up laps, no stage breaks whatsoever. Hearing more and more cars calling out, they're heading to the pit lane. You see Vincent Arthur coming off the pit lane in the background.
I may have spoken too soon. Josh's own words, not okay. Well, hopefully at least everyone's body is okay, but definitely sounds like maybe a stressful night, so hopefully they get back to normal soon as Anderson hits the pits, Baumler as well. Now we're starting to see these guys all kind of flood the pit lane a little bit, and this checks in. I mean, 56 laps since their last pit stop. Yeah, here we go. Leaders are in. Tucker and Housden. This is bang on the money where Josh Conover said they would pit. Hunter Sr. in. Wayne Sparks in. There are some staying out. Kenneth Chaney on the racetrack still. Brady Moat still out there. But widely, everybody coming in that lap. This leaves about 7 still on the racetrack. There's Dalton Tucker. Chase Durheim already passed him, Zach. That's important. Tucker, though, going to come out here along with Housden. Housden gets passed up by Cody Smith. Brendan Maddox is back there. Dustin Stallings is in, and he's got some big damage on the right side of that race car.
Oh, boy.
But the biggest thing to note from this pit cycle, Zach, Ryan Jones is into 8th, about 1.5 seconds ahead of Chase Durheim.
He's really jumped the gap right there.
But he's got 24 lap older tires.
Oh boy, that's going to work itself down pretty quick. And just in fact, look in the rear view. There's Durheim.
And so, there's the gap bottom right. I just said 1.5 seconds. Cut that in half. And closing in quickly is the number 16, tracking down this number 45. Again, this is for what will eventually be the race lead once this cycle is complete. 3 cars left to pit. Those are Chaney and Tubb. Moats is now in, so 2 cars left to pit. Move to the inside now from Durheim. This is for the race lead, essentially.
Side by side in the 3. Nose in front goes to Durheim. Door bumper clear off of turn number 4. 2 cars left to pit in the cycle.
You saw the gap back to
Tubb is
Tucker.
Tubb is starting to pit.
And Chaney's in as well.
So it looks like they came in at the same time.
Here's Tubb finally pitting. 62 laps for these two. Of course, the caution at the beginning of this run helping them achieve that, but still a significant number. And now, Zach, these guys that have all just pitted should be able to do it on one more stop. Maybe a little bit close on fuel, but it's certainly going to be 2 more stops for Brian Jones, and that's why I question why some of these guys pitted early. I know Jones hadn't pitted yet, so he had to come in a little bit earlier. Time will tell how this is going to work out. As it looked like there was some smoke there in turns 1 and 2. Tubb off the racetrack here, or rather back on the racetrack here. He's going to blend in just behind Nick Ham in the 19th spot, just ahead there of Durheim to hold on to the lead lap.
That's pretty big, Andrew. Because think about how many laps that they're going to click off and how that 32 car is going to pull away from the 16 to potentially could put himself in position as the run goes on. You never know.
He's only got about 14 lap better tires than the 16. Actually, 12 lap better tires. So even less of an advantage. So I don't know if he's not necessarily going to run the 16 down at all, but he'll make a little bit of that time back, I suppose, as Kenneth Chaney starts to work here on Cody Smith. This will be for position number 5. And a quick change of position there, just like it was for second place, as Dalton Tucker gets the best of Brian Jones here on this long run. And Zach, when this guy comes back around to the stripe, it will be 100 laps to go at Phoenix International Raceway for Chase Durheim. There you have it, 100 to go this time by. 43 laps led out of those opening 87. That's about half of the race so far.
Big move right there past the 88 car of Ham.
Big moves deeper in the field too.
I'm going to sound like a broken record. I am still a big fan of that two-tire call that Durheim made. I think it's put him in an absolutely amazing spot for the remainder of this race. He has gotten a huge gap back to Brian Jones and a somewhat decent gap to Dalton Tucker. It's about 1.3 seconds at the moment.
It definitely has worked out for the 16. I was skeptical of it in the moment, and I'm still a little bit skeptical if it would work again. But given the circumstances he was handed, it definitely ended up being a good hand to play. Maddox up the track. And if you recall, Zach, back to one of the most recent rounds of the BRB Sundance Pro Series, that was at the new Phoenix in the ARCA car. Brendan was pretty good. He was pretty serviceable in that race. Had some winning pace. He's going to lose this spot, though, to Cody Anderson. Throw the car back 23 years, throw the track back, 20 years, and it seems like things have changed maybe a little bit. I mean, he's still good, don't get me wrong, but Brendan, I think, has met a bit more of a match here today.
I still think he's got good speed. I had to stop and wait for a second because I thought there were going to be a big battle right there between... Oh, that's close!
Not done yet between these two. Vincent Arthur not for position. So just over 90 laps in, Ryan Housden starting to put some pressure now on Brian Jones. This would reestablish the 15 back on the podium. I certainly believe this will be an easy pass for Ryan Housden. Jones been out there for over 40 laps at this point on that set of tires, so yes, easy pass there by the 15. Zach, while these guys are running long run here, I want to take a look at what's upcoming for us here at Pit Stop TV, get our first look at the next 3 broadcasts here on the channel. And next up for us this Sunday, the Bristol Motor Speedway for the All-American Racing Network. Some more short track racing for those guys. They were just at Martinsville yesterday morning, Zach, and I think that was a pretty solid race. Zachary King went to victory lane in that one, and he'll look to repeat and add to his story and success in 2026 this Sunday morning. Next week, of course, we head out to Talladega Super Speedway, another plate track on the calendar for us. The second, I suppose, of 4, as we still have July Daytona and fall Talladega to look forward to. And I promise that is not an April Fool's joke on the right side of this graphic, Zach. We've got dirt racing coming to Pit Stop TV. The Dirt Sprint Car Championship Series. They made their debut on the channel back in 2018. Yes, 2018. I was still in high school. I lived in California. And I had no clue what I was doing at the sim racing broadcasting thing, Zach, but they are back, On Pit Stop TV, we're glad to be taking 410 sprint cars, no longer the 360s, up to the big boy 410s, to Federated Auto Parts Raceway Park in Peevely, Missouri. That is I-55. I'm excited for that.
Not really much of a dirt racing aficionado as I am on the asphalt, but I am excited to see how that's going to play out. Next week, when was the last time that we had some dirt on the broadcast?
That would be the Millbridge show we did for Regal Promotions back in September.
You know what? You're right. My mind was floating to the first season that we covered with BRB.
No, sir. We had that Millbridge race, the head-to-head racing with big blocks at Millbridge for Real Promotions back in September. That was a lot of fun. But pit stops now. Brian Jones into the pit lane. 4 tires down and away. And so begins the cycle once again. Now he's going to have to pit again. That's the trouble here for him. He's got one more stop to make, even after making this pit stop. And so as he gets back on the same level as some of these other guys as far as how many pits they have left, he's a lap down to them. He'll be able to get some of that time back with, with his tires coming in, but he might barely get to the lucky dog spot, maybe. Now here he is off of turn number 2. Where is Chase Durheim? He is into turn 3. So I suppose he can try to run down the 16 a little bit and get closer to having his lap back, but by the time he gets there, I think he's going to stall out, and it'll be time for Durheim and the other leaders to pit. Now, all of that said, Zach, Durheim has been choked up and has lost a bunch of time to Tucker.
Yeah, that 3 car is starting to close in. Now, Housen's fallen further and further back, but it's just between this 3 and the 16. Can't wait to see how this ends up turning out as that 3 car closes in more and more.
Meanwhile, great battle here. This is for the 6th position. We'll, of course, keep tabs on those leaders, but Brady Motes, big send down to turn 3. Trying to put the 33 in his mirror. And the 33 car did race at Phoenix back in 2005. It was Clint Boyer behind the wheel in one of his very first NASCAR Nextel Cup Series starts. I believe it might have been his very first, actually. So 33 does have some history here. But Anderson starting to sink back a little bit. Wayne Sparks next up as far as position goes in the mirror of that 33. After Sparks, it would be Cody Smith back in 9th. And then Brennan Maddox back in the 10th spot, a couple more seconds back. I want to do something here with the 16 and the 3. So look at the bottom of your screen here in a second. And there you'll see the last lap time for each of these 2 drivers. On the last lap, Zach Durheim a little bit faster, but Tucker matching that. They're on nearly even tires, about 6 laps apart in their pit stops. This last lap for them, Tucker actually slower again.
Well, they're about to catch lap traffic, so maybe that'll back Durheim up to the 3 car. We'll have to wait and see. Who knows?
There was some conversation over when to start this race as far as the in-sim time goes, Zach, and we were talking a little bit the last couple of days with Josh Conover about it, trying to find the right time to give us some of that sunset feeling without making the broadcast too dark, since the iRacing Musco lights around the racetrack do not work. I'm not sure why that is, but regardless, this racetrack in all of its years has never had nighttime racing with this scan. Of course, the new version of the track does. Well, that limits us here. Whereas NASCAR went night racing back in 2005, these guys cannot here today. And I know Josh was talking about bumping the start time up an hour to make sure we had good sunlight for the whole race, or at least as much of it as possible. I'm not sure if he did or not. If he's still watching, he can certainly clarify, but maybe it's just how quickly these guys are getting the race in. It does not look like we're close at all to sunset right now, and I could be shooting myself in the foot. We could get 20 cautions back to back to back now, but at least at the moment, it seems we'll get this race in during the day. 80 laps to go when we get back around to the stripe.
The faster they click off laps, the better. The sun is starting to set quite a bit here at Phoenix, and like you said, Andrew, we're just running out of daylight. This is the current state of the track right now as they all roll around.
The mx-wraps.com race weather. There you see the track temp has come up a little bit. Ambient temp holding steady right around where it was before. But that track temp with all these cars on it now starting to take some heat and build warmer and warmer. The final car on lead lap currently is that FedEx number 11 with Jake Christenberry behind the wheel. And Chase Durheim certainly looking to change that. Scav Nicky directly ahead as well also. Trying not to go a lap down. They would certainly love a caution right now. Get themselves back in this race and regroup, try to go back after it. I think Brian Jones might also want a caution. Maybe not right this second, we'll wait until he's back on the lead lap, but I do think some of these guys are going to be hollering for yellows here soon. Also, big time lap traffic here for the 16. He's having to check up. That's going to bring the 3 car into the group.
Closing in ever more. This is the closest that Tucker's been all race long. This lap traffic really starting to play a factor for that 16. He's got to make quick work.
He saw Tucker close in a bunch that time. Joey Stats up top. He's got damage. He's slow ahead of these guys. Checking them up a little bit. The 11's going to fall out of it, but we have ourselves a battle for the race lead. These guys are still about 10, 15, maybe even 20 laps away from pitting. I say that, and Brendan Maddox is in. So maybe, Zach, it's not a matter of the limitations of fuel, but more so of tires for some of these guys.
Trying to think on how this is going to play out then. There are so many different variables now that we could factor into this. Remind me fuel run again. As I do math.
About 60 laps per Josh Conover in the production crew chat here in Discord.
Which means that these guys have to go... Oh man, okay. So they have to get to at least lap 128. That would put them good on fuel, but we're talking about tire limitations now, so this could be potentially a 2-stop to the end, but on tires, not on gas.
Watching from some of the fan cams around the racetrack, yes, we're approaching about 70 to go. There you see, oh no, not the race leader! Nick Geila's massive contact with Chase Durheim. Durheim saves it, but is going to lose the race lead. And Dalton Tucker has gone by. Are you kidding me? What just happened?
I don't even know. I don't know.
We're over here thinking about strategies and such. The 16 just got bodied. Wow. I am speechless.
But is there any damage, though? That's the thing now. Is there any damage?
I think his car is okay, but man, we've seen how hard it is to pass in these cars I think the pass did more damage than anything to the body. Let's see. Durheim got in there a little bit hot, but there was plenty of room. And then here off the corner, Gillis got loose. Oh my goodness.
He didn't hit the wall. That's a great job keeping it off the wall.
That was some really heads-up driving by Durheim. That part I'm sure of. I'm still trying to figure out how this even happened. Gillis gets loose and then just starts down the racetrack. And, I mean, Durheim might have come up a tiny bit, but, you know, inches to feet at that point. Let's see it again here. We'll slow it down. This is straight down the front stretch and into turn one. Watch this. So, yeah, Durheim's car has settled a little bit, and he came up at, you know, a few inches, but, man, I think Gillis came down a couple of feet and just completely shoves the race leader down towards the inside wall. I'm not going to say any of that was intentional. I'm sure it wasn't. You see him lock up, but that doesn't mean that wasn't significant. So settling back in, inside now of 70 laps to go. Chase Durheim on a back foot. Here comes Brian Jones trying to unlap himself. It might be a little bit easier now for Jones to do so, because these two had that moment, and, well, Tucker now takes over at Phoenix International Raceway. Chase Durheim, I'm sure, seeing red under that helmet right now, cannot be happy.
You have to wonder how this is going to change the strategy. I know we just had a little incident, but I'm reverting back to strategy because now this does play a huge factor. Does Durheim decide to pit earlier and put tires on that car and maybe try to build that gap back up again? Do we see him run it longer and see if he can hang on to those tires a little bit more and build that position back up? What circumstances are going to change the outcome at this point when it comes to the 16 or the 3 car?
Like, the pit window is going to open up in about 6 more laps. That's a theoretical beginning of when these guys can pit. I think Durheim can afford to go at least 5 more beyond that. Well, maybe not, actually. It'll be close. He's going to be able to get to the window, maybe 3 laps beyond it comfortably, and even that could actually be stretching it slightly. Gillis, by the way, is now in that 28 car. He has not hit the pit window, so he will have to pit again or save a whole bunch of fuel. And he's not the only one finding himself in such a predicament. There are other drivers in the pit lane. Here's John Border in the pits.
He missed his box big.
He did. And there's Gillis.
Gillis, he's out in the way. Ooh, a little trouble getting out in the way, but he's out in the way nonetheless.
So the leaders certainly have had our focus more recently, but let's look around the top 10 a little bit. So there is Dalton Tucker. We'll do a little bit of off the cuff through the field here. There is Tucker in the number 3, leading the way. Durheim now in second, about 1.5 seconds back. He has right front damage now, and that is more recent, I think. Maybe from racing with Jones. Ryan Housden is back here in third after starting on pole today. He pitted 6 laps later than Durheim. So Durheim is at 51 complete. He can go about 5 to 6 more, I think, comfortably. And that would put him just inside 50 to go when he pits. Housden has an extra 6 laps. Cheney, another 5, so 11 more than the number 16. He runs 4th. Brady Motes runs in 5th. I say 5th, he is 17 seconds behind the leaders, but he's doing a good job himself. Hunter Sr., he pitted 45 laps to go make that 46 now, so he's got 6 more laps of fuel versus the 16 car. He runs back here in 6th spot. Cody Anderson runs in 7th. He pitted 1 lap before Hunter Sr. Wayne Sparks runs back here in 8th. He pitted 1 lap after Cody Anderson. And then Ronnie Norman runs in 9th. He pitted 2 laps after Wayne Sparks. And finally, to complete your top 10, Kevin Baumler runs back here in 10th. He pitted 47 laps ago. That's 3 laps before Ronnie Norman. That is 6 laps after, make that 5 laps after Chase Durheim. There's only one more car on the lead lap currently. That is Kyle Tubb. He runs here in 11th. He pitted 42 laps ago, so he's got the most fuel in that car of the drivers we just went through. And here I'd say the competitive... Oh, I had the numbers wrong. 60 to go. This is 60 to go. I had the numbers wrong. I was off by 10, Zach.
You should be there for a second.
And that tightens things up a little bit. So Durheim needs to go about 3 more, and then he's theoretically good. That's an important 10 laps that I left out. It's a wonky number of laps today, but now I promise you that math is right. So we just hit 60 to go. You want to try to get to 55 if you can. That's not possible for Durheim. I expect him in, well, now.
There it is.
This is going to be a stretch for him. So Durheim will come in for Ford and fuel. He's got some right front damage. But there is potential for him to go to the end from this point in time. Now, we won't know until much later in the race, but he's going to know pretty soon kind of how that's looking. You know, if he's running any third-party software, Zach, a lot of that stuff will be able to give you, even 5 laps in, it'll be able to give you kind of an estimate of how far you can go. He should know, certainly, I would say by lap 160, if he can actually go to the end from here. Gladulich now in as well. This was the number he was looking for. He has run 58. He has about 58 to go, so this is a good number for Gladulich. And here goes Dalton Tucker.
And he's going to run long like he did last time. Just how long do you run? You have the gap now to the 16. You took the lead away. How long is too long to be out there running?
I think there is some good to running a little bit longer here for Tucker. He already had the lead. I think he's a little, marginally better on a long run. And now Durheim is shaken up. I think run these laps, get yourself some insurance in case of an overtime finish, and even just stay out in case we get a caution. We still have 27 cars turning laps here. Stalling is the most recent of the drivers to drop out of the race. We still have plenty of racing to go. Plenty of cars on the track. We can get a caution anytime. I think if I'm Tucker, I want to run this tank dry, certainly.
Are coming out of the pit lane, that's Nick Ham.
Oh, Brian Jones in the grass there. He got loose off of 2. Remember, he was trying to get his lap back. It does appear that Jones will not be doing that now, and he needs a caution. He desperately needs a caution, and he needs it to come at just the right time. Once Tucker pits, the 45 needs a yellow.
That's a small window you're asking for.
Yeah. Because even he has got to pit in about 20 more. So you're only going to have about 15 laps where a caution would actually benefit him, as Ryan Housden is now in. And Dalton Tucker is in. So there's the leader in. Now Brian Jones needs a caution. Literally at any point in time for the next 10 to 15 laps, he needs a yellow. Ronnie Norman in. Let's make sure this stop is all good for the 3-car of Tucker. Last week's winner at Texas, could he double dip?
The odds are forever in his favor at the moment. Left sides are up on the jack. Need to see where Durheim comes out. There's Durheim in the background. There he is, the 16 car. And he passes Dalton Tucker.
That is no reason to panic right now. It's a gap again of 6 laps. I think Dalton Tucker is good enough. It's less than a second. I think he's certainly good enough to run that 16 back down. And with lap traffic all across this racetrack, I don't think there's any reason yet for Tucker to be worried, let alone panic right now. That 16 is within striking distance. This is going to be a fun race to the end.
Lap traffic holding up that 16 car. And with Tucker on fresh tires, a small gap is not what you want to see. Skavnicki up the road as well.
I'm surprised the 7 just got away. Look at this. Pass for the lead. Durheim's going to give it right up to Tucker. Almost no contest between these two. He lost a ton of time down there in 1 and 2, and now he tries, but Tucker, a little too good on the outside. I think that 16 is wounded. I think he got the wall at some point when we weren't looking, and I think he did a little more damage than we realized.
This also floats back a little bit as well to what I asked you earlier, as Brian Jones goes quickest. Do we think that outside line or that inside line is just a more beneficial line to be running?
I don't know if that was a fair example. Again, I think the 16's got more damage than we really realized earlier. Hunter Sr. now in, by the way, in the number 4 car. That leaves Cheney and Moat still on the racetrack, along with Craig Martin and Donald Kite. Martin is now in. Kite yet to pit. And then we'll also need Maddox, Smith, and Jones back in the pit lane before too long. Brian Jones actually just pitted, so he just made his final stop of the race. He is now in 17th. He is nearly 2 laps down to the leaders. Here he is in turns 3 and 4. Cheney into turn 3. So, of course, that will change once Cheney gives the lead away, but Moat's down in the pit lane. That leaves pretty much just Cheney on the racetrack.
As it was before the pit cycle was completed, Cheney still in charge of the race lead. And that gap growing ever more between Tucker and Durheim. We've talked about it most of the season, Andrew, about that 16 and 17 car, both the Durheims, having so much speed. When does their time come to win a race?
As I mentioned earlier, Chance not here today, so it's hard to really say anything on his account. As there goes Brian Jones to the inside of John Skavnicki and Kevin Baumler. That is a couple of passes now made for the 45. He'll now work on Kyle Tubb as well. These are 4 lapped cars, all racing around the 16 car of Chase Durheim. But I also mentioned at the top of the show, Zach, that Chase is in that 16, and back in 05, Greg Biffle was second in the standings at this point in time in the season. So he's got some big shoes to fill. Certainly, I think some hefty expectations given how the season has gone with how much speed he's had, but it seems like he's starting to rack up more and more ways to lose these races. I thought this was his for a little while. As we approach 40 to go, I'm not so sure. He might even lose second at some point. The way he's trending, I think Housen may run him down. And there you go. Cheney in the pits. 44 to go. He'll get back out. He's going to be, let's see, about 5th. Maybe even 4th. Wayne Sparks is closing, but is not going to pass him. So 4th it is for for Kenneth Cheney. Here is Brendan Maddox in the pits. This should be his final stop of the day. Battle still between Baumler and Tubb. Oh, Baumler's trying to get a run back at him.
Working his hardest. Anything he can do to get one more position on the racetrack.
I will say, Zach,
run out of turn 2.
We have seen plenty of green flag racing from these guys, but nothing quite like this race today. The 1 caution for cause, and they've been green since. Or was it 2 cautions? Hang on. We have a graphic for this. Let me find it. The race stats, 2 cautions. My mistake. It was, I think, lap 10 and lap 23 that we got our restarts. So 2 cautions today. The rest of this race green. And, I mean, we've been green for now over 120 laps.
Don't say that.
I think we could use something to spice this race up, get us closer into sunset. You see the sun is setting back there behind turns 1 and 2, but we still have a good bit of sun on the racetrack for now.
Hopefully the sun stays with us. We keep clicking off laps at this rate. It should stay with us throughout the course of the race.
Hunter Sr. He's got Brady Motes in the rear view, Cody Anderson in the windshield. He is the top driver on the power rankings. He's got 2 wins already this season. He's kind of been trending the wrong direction lately, but last week was a step back to some good graces and some green there on this graphic. Moved back up ahead of Dustin Kleba. Of course, Kleba not here the last 2 weeks, and once again not here tonight, so he's going to drop down the order significantly once again. Which is just so unfortunate for a guy who won at Bristol, kind of lit the world on fire for a week, and then has yet to return. But I guess if you're going to go out, Zach, that's the way you want to do it, right? Go out on top.
That is true. Talk about on top. I hate to see guys that are up towards the top of the power rankings having such difficult nights. You did mention that everything is all right in the Conover household, but hate to see that 48 car pull off the racetrack so early in this race, especially when we've had quite a bit of a heater, and he would be one of our front runners as he has been week in and week out.
Well, yeah, go back to the Who You Got post.
Who just went through the grass?
That I'm unsure of, but go back to the Who You Got post, and if you recall, I mentioned it was Josh Conover and Chase Durheim on that graphic today. I kind of have my eyes on them, a little bit of pressure on them certainly, as their real-life drivers back in 05 were leading the standings at this point in time. So I think certainly some attention is starting to build in those camps, and some pressure maybe starting to mount as well for the 48 and 16 cars. Meanwhile, for Brendan Maddox, here's his moment on the back stretch into the grass. Nothing too crazy.
Certainly got a little out of shape there for a moment, though.
Able to gather it back up, though, for driver 34. He'll soon be back in pursuit of his first BRB championship on Tuesday nights. I do know he's going to be doing all he can to make sure he's refreshed and ready to go for that new season, as there is racing all over the racetrack. Here we go. Battle for 9th, 10th, and 11th. These guys all 1 lap down. Cody Smith, Ronnie Norman, Brian Jones. Jones has the best tires, but only by a lap. Norman, slightly older tires here, but they're about on even footing. Smith, though, 20 lap older tires than the 2 behind him. And there goes Brian Jones around the outside of Ronnie Norman. We were on board with him for it. As here's a pass now. Mote's able to get by Anderson. These guys are trailing the 4 of Senior. They're just ahead of that battle we were just looking at, and just ahead of the race leader as well. So these guys will be next up on the chopping block to go a lap down.
They've got cars around them that are already laps down. Brendan Maddox at risk of 2 laps down. Brian Jones leading over Cody Smith. These guys are fighting to be the first car 1 lap down, should we end up getting that all but coveted caution that we haven't seen since the early stages of this race. Gotta wonder what's going through these guys' mind. They've been green for 130 laps or so. Not even giving themselves a break. I mean, they've just been
You just
going
don't
after
see
it.
that anymore.
That's what I'm saying. They haven't gotten a chance to slow down, reset, refocus.
Oh!
Oh boy. They've been on full focus mode the entire race, just wheeling and dealing.
Yeah, you just don't see races go 130 laps green anymore. We could go 160 even by the time this race is up. Whether it's iRacing or real life, it is just hard to find a group of drivers and teams and such that can run at this level of competition in this kind of difficult race car while also staying green flag for this long. So I think the NORA Retro Cup Series certainly has a lot to hang their hats on today. This has been a fantastic showing for them, not just in an entertainment sense, but I think as a whole, as a league, this has been a really solid showing for this group. And I think no matter who wins the race, it's a win for the league as a whole. Certainly, I think Dalton Tucker looks to be on his way to a win. It would be the second in a row for him. But I think you can count this as a W for the entire series so far.
I count this, like you said, an absolute W, an absolute win.
Well, Zach, as we get ready for some North American Racing League Driver of the Day picks, what do you say we go Pit Stop TV Sounds of the Sim?
Hey, works for me. I get to hear these cars more and more.
And we rejoin you with Kenneth Cheney putting some work here on Ryan Housden. This is a battle for third spot right now. You saw Cody Smith maybe head to the pit lane in that little bit of Sounds of the Sim coverage. He has made his final stop of the day and now runs in position number 20, 2 laps down. So certainly not an ideal day for Cody Smith at all, but hey, Kenneth Cheney working on third. And now, Zach, we get to find out who can actually make it all the way. I will say, Durheim has stayed out. He has not yet pitted again. I would think now was that time you would know if you're going to make it or not, based on the trend so far through these opening 40 laps of this run for him. You're going to start to find out if you can actually go to the end. Meanwhile, battles across the racetrack. John Skavnicki, Craig Martin, this is for 13th. Each of these drivers lap down. And then Brendan Maddox and Jacob Gladulich, these two are 1 lap down as well, with leader Dalton Tucker literally right behind Gladulich into turn 3 that time. So, with 20 laps to go, the last time by the stripe, Zach, let's get this party started. Who you got for the North American Racing League Driver of the Day vote on YouTube today?
Honestly, to start it off, I gotta go strong. Tucker. He has just been lights out today. It has been immensely outstanding, the performance that he has put on today. And I think he's a solid contender for Driver of the Day. Second pick, though, has got to go to the driver in second because I've talked him up. I've talked about the strategy that he tried to pull the 2 tires early on in the race. Durheim in that 16 car, he's got to be my second pick for the day. The 2-tire call was a great strategy call to start it off. I think he would be leading this race still if it wasn't for that contact that happened between him and Guylis. So I got to go with the top 2 for my top picks of the day.
I'm going to go straight for 5th place. Wayne Sparks. We have seen sparks of brilliance, if you will, out of him all season long, but they've often been hindered and derailed by bad luck, bad circumstance, what have you. So 11 spots up over these 150 laps now that we've been green since that most recent caution, and he has been able to gain 11 positions. He's top 5. He might lose it to Hunter Sr. here just before the end of this race, but he is in a fantastic spot to finally put some points on the table and continue what have been some better runs lately. Better finishes, I should say. He's had great runs all season long, but better finishes lately for Wayne. So certainly, as we get ready for a 5 race, the 5, I believe is what it is, the promotion these guys are doing this season with 5 drivers that have qualified for some extra cash. That'll begin next week. I know Wayne Sparks kind of spearheading that. He's able to go into that race next week with, I think, maybe a better finish on the way here at Phoenix. And, excuse me, as I had to get that one off my chest, I guess. As I look around the field and kind of think about who to pick next, Hunter Sr. comes to mind. He's up 6 spots. Craig Martin's even up 7. Skavnicki up 5. Donald Kite, though, is up 10 positions, Zach. And to already be down towards the back when we got started today and have these 160 laps coming up that have now gone green. Again, as far as positions gained, he's up 10 since the start of the race. That is a really tall order when you just don't have cautions giving you extra opportunities to get ahead of guys with pit strategy and whatnot. So I'm going to go Donald Kite. I'm going to give him a shout here for North American Racing League Driver of the Day as Skavnicki and Martin are in and more drivers starting to make their final stops of the race. Martin's actually done. He parked it. Bristenberry's in. And there's Skavnicki as well. So that vote will go up on YouTube, and you can place your votes now. So we've got ourselves a 3-car fight here. Sparks, Senior, and Moats.
Down the inside, Senior. That outside line is just so strong. There's contact.
Watch out. Just over 10 to go here at Phoenix. Final stages. Moats all the way down to the grass down there. Buddy, it's not paved like it is in 2026. That's a valid line on the new track. Oh, Sparks loose off the corner. Blocks down the front stretch. He is aware of where that 4-car is, and he is trying to hold Hunter Sr. at bay. Oh, they had to both jump out of the throttle there. Sparks first. I think Senior was just reacting. This is getting good between these two. This is a really racy track.
I love the old raciness that came with old style Phoenix. While I do enjoy the repave and the things that have come of it, I really miss this style of the racetrack. And one race that always floats back into my mind when it comes to this racetrack, Andrew, 2011 spring race. Oh, contact there between Senior and Sparks. 2011 spring race, Jeff Gordon runs down Kyle Busch to win his first race since, what, 2009 at that point?
Well, 10 laps to go, with shades of all kinds of former races here at Phoenix. Battle here between the 5 and 4. Hunter Sr. on the outside, got the leg up finally on the 4 car, or on the 5 car. And look at that, the 3 is in the background. That's Dalton Tucker trying to put these guys a lap down, but this is a fight for 5th. And Senior's finally going to pull away now, inside of 10 to go. Brady Moats now trying to stay on the lead lap. He's going to try and chase this 5 car down. He has been one of the more aggressive drivers as far as using the racetrack today, trying to find speed all over it. He's been in some alternate lines as a possible 2-time winner is right behind him. Oh!
Goes right up the racetrack there. Moats trying to keep himself on the lead lap, I would assume.
He's trying to, but he might not be able to much longer as Dalton Tucker bears down on the 8 car here soon. They are teammates, so Tucker might come a break or two here. He has Anderson pinned down a lap. Jones as well. By the way, Cheney did get by Housden in some number of laps ago. He's now 2 seconds ahead of the 15 car. That was the pass for 3rd earlier, and we'll be talking to your whole top 3 here shortly. Inside of 10 to go. The picture has come into full focus for us now. The sun is setting, but Dalton Tucker is rising to the occasion once more. Won at Texas a week ago. Looking to put a 2nd in the bag. And considering he's already shot up the point standings after last week's win, this is going to put him, I would think, at least 4th, if not 3rd in the standings going to Talladega next week. And boy, to be in a good points position going into Talladega and wearing the number 3 car, that's going to feel good for Tucker.
I was about to say, nobody really wants to go into Talladega on the back pedal when it comes to the points. I know I certainly don't. So to see him in a good position, fighting his way forward, I think that's great. 2 wins in a row, too. We talked about it. Could he double down? Here he is. Trying to do just that.
Navigating some more lap traffic. That is Joey's stats on the outside. He is 18 laps down. The battle here still between Sparks and Moats. Anderson is not far back, and that would be for position. But Hunter Sr. starting to drive away with the top 5 now. Also, a battle between Brendan Maddox and Cody Smith. Smith with about 20 lap newer tires trying to chase this number 34 down. They just took 4 to go. And I think Smith is going to get him. Oh, watch out, Brendan Maddox! No caution, what a drift and a save for the 34. Oh my gosh, Zach, I thought we were about to see a yellow.
How did it? Oh. Woo!
And don't look now, but Kenneth Cheney might just have literally just enough due to the 16 car. It was 3 laps to go that time by the flag stand. Tucker is a half track ahead, or so it feels. Tucker is about to take 2 to go, but Durheim's got to look at his mirror now.
I don't even really know what to say about how that all went. That was interesting to say the least. Coming back alive, his popsicle sticks in the air for Tucker. This is the gap right now. Cheney and Durheim. The fight for 2nd. Doing everything he can, Durheim is, to hang on to that position. I know he's going and sitting there thinking to himself, I could have been in position to win this race. I could have won this race. Lord knows it's going to happen soon. But right now, up front, it's white flag in the air. One more time around Phoenix Raceway for Dalton Tucker. White flag presented by Whiplash Sim Cams. Andrew, he's done everything perfect. He stayed consistent all race long. I don't really think he's ever been outside the top 3 other than pit stops.
And so, through the final couple of corners, it will be all car number 3. There's a flashback at the 16 and 14, but off of turn number 4 at Phoenix International Raceway. Checkered flag for car number 3, second in a row for Dalton Tucker. Off the 4th corner as well. Chase Durheim just barely gets back to the line first over Kenneth Cheney. And everybody else going to finish this race up. A lot of the lead lap cars still trying to get there. There's not many of them left. There's Senior, there's Sparks and Moats. Anderson was let go. Coming to the white flag, he will finish 8th, but Dalton Tucker is going to get it done in the desert. This swing through Texas. Oh, and there's some maybe payback in the back there, but this swing between Texas and Phoenix now has proven to be oh so fruitful for driver number 3.
What a job. What a burnout, really. Can't even see him through the smoke.
I was just going to say that. Can't even see the 3 car in there.
Maybe it's partially because of the sun setting.
He is
it is
still
providing
going.
a certain glare.
He is still
Hey,
going
he's a
in
happy
there.
man. He's a happy man. 2 race wins in a row. We have not seen someone go back-to-back so far this season other than just now.
And so Dalton Tucker puts one together, and we'll do the famous Polish victory lap, I believe where it was made famous, at Phoenix International Raceway.
I don't think you're wrong about that one.
Paying homage, of course, to Alan Kulwicki. Gone far too soon, but never forgotten in this NASCAR community. Tucker expediting the victory lap a little bit, and paying turn 2, a bit of a visit. That's an unconventional way to celebrate, but whatever works. As we'll take a look back at your unofficial race results here at Phoenix Raceway. What a day for the NORA Retro Cup Series at Phoenix International Raceway. What a day. 60 there to the end, 164 or so to the end, green flag, and it all ends up with Dalton Tucker out ahead by 6 seconds over Chase Durheim and Kenneth Cheney. 10 back to Ryan Housden. 27, nearly a full lap back to Hunter Sr., Wayne Sparks, Brady Moats, and Cody Anderson. And then Brian Jones and Ronnie Norman will finish 9th and 10th, 1 lap down. I'm telling you, Zach, if we had another fuel run, I think it would have been 4 cars on the lead lap. I think those next 4 would have been a lap down. Anderson, Moats, Sparks, and Senior. I don't think they stood a chance against that 3.
I don't disagree. I think as the race went on, Tucker just kept clicking them off. He was doing a great job, and you see that reflective as we go further down the standings. Kevin Baumler 1 lap down in the 11th spot with Kyle Tubb right behind him. Matthew George and Donald Kite all finishing 1 lap down. That's 11th through 14th, and then 15th through 20th. These next 6 cars: Cody Smith, Jacob Gladgelich, Brendan Maddox, Jake Christenberry, John Skavnicki, and Nick Ham all finish 2 laps down.
And back in 21st, you'll find Aaron Longworth in the 41. Hey, how about that for attrition? Might not have been flashy, but he was able to get home nearly in the top 20 in just his second start in the series. So that's certainly, I think, a positive note for him. Even his, I'm assuming, brother and Samuel, 2 spots back, admittedly 2 more laps behind the 41, but they're finishing races and learning, I think, and that's important for Aaron and Samuel. John Border finishes between them. It'll be Craig Martin and Joey Stats completing your top 25. Vincent Arthur, though, not able to make the start of the race. Not sure what happened. Ended up 37 laps down at the end. I think he might have taken an early exit there in car 24. Nick Geilis in 27th. Dustin Stallings, Noah Blackwell, and Jason Steptoe complete your top 30 with just Josh Conover there at the back end with his early exit. Let's go ahead and bring in two-time race winner now, Dalton Tucker, 2 in a row. I didn't think we'd be saying that about 5 races ago, Dalton. It was bad luck after bad luck after bad luck to start this year off. Now, able to finally breathe and show these guys what you're made of once again. As to my understanding as well, you had a rather successful 2004 season here in this series, and now we're starting to see the flashes in the pan of another one on the way. Is this what you expected here today, though?
I wouldn't say I ever expect anything in this league. A ton of fast guys, so week in and week out, I mean, you gotta really, really sweat, and that's just a testament to, I think, all the guys in here. I mean, you got Kenneth, Chase, Ryan, all of them. If Josh could have done the race, I know he would have been up there. And guys like that, they just push you, and it's sometimes I say it's bad luck, but I think it's just part of competition, and it gets tough out there like that.
And admittedly, these 160 to the end after the second caution of the day, I think that was kind of shades of 90s NASCAR. That was kind of a little bit like Darlington yesterday, actually. It was just a classic BTA moment. You putting it on this field, I mean, does that feel good as a driver, and kind of extra good, not just to win, but to really put it to the field?
Yeah, I mean, it really does. When I saw what happened to Chase with Nick, I mean, I hate to see it. I would have loved to battle him out. I think the strategy I had, it would have paid off at the end, but I mean, he ran a heck of a race, so anytime I see something like that happen, it hurts. But I mean, overall, from the last restart to the end, I mean, I just felt like I was in sync. Just every lap felt really good, and whenever you can do that, it just extends your long run speed.
And you definitely hit on the next point that I was getting to, that incident there with Nick Geilis and the driver that you were chasing at the time for the lead, Chase Durheim. You know, I certainly feel like Durheim's on knocking on the door of a win, but what was going through your mind right there is, you know, he's been leading all these laps, you trying to chase him back down, and then that happens in front of you.
Yeah, I knew the run before that. I want to say it's the last 10 laps or so of the run. I started catching him pretty good, so I knew I had some long run speed if we could get to the very end of the run. And with the pit strategy difference, I knew I could kind of chip away at it. But I mean, he wouldn't have been easy to pass by no means if it was just me and him. So I hate to say thank you, Nick, but in a way I got to, because I mean, it definitely made it a lot easier tonight.
Hey, this race went a little bit quick. I think we can go for one more question here. Late in the race, we had an incident with the 42 and 34. I'm sure you were on the other end of the racetrack, too far ahead to know, but nearly a caution. The 34, perpendicular to the racing surface. Would you have wanted, I mean, certainly you wouldn't have wanted the caution, right? But I guess, would you have been okay if there was a caution, bolt some tires on, go back at it?
Well, I will say Chase, he showed his hand early in the race by taking 2, and I'm sure y'all saw how well he ran on 2. So somebody would have had to stay out, I guess, to get in front of me, because I would have taken 2 there. But it definitely, I would have said it had probably been 50-50 chance that the race win would have been taken from me in that case. And I heard him come over the scanner, and my stomach just sank.
Well, thankfully, you're able to power away still to a big win here at Phoenix. 2 in a row now for driver number 3. Congratulations, Dalton, and hopefully we're talking to you again soon.
Yeah, appreciate it, y'all.
And back to second place, Zach. That's going to be Chase Durheim today. It's been a little while since he's been able to put one of these races together all the way like this and finish up here where we're talking to him in post-race. 1 spot shy of that win, just a few laps shy of most laps led today, Zach, but there's no denying the 16 was here.
Chase Durheim, 1 spot short today on the race, 70 laps led on the day. Chase, what could have been for your race? Walk us through that, man. How you feeling?
Well, some mixed feelings for sure. I'm happy to be able to talk to you guys for the first time this year. I don't know how many races we are in, but I certainly expected to do a little bit better to start the year here. I'm a little bit disappointed in myself. So today I feel like I finished where I deserved. Yeah, I just got into a lap car there while I was battling with Dalton for the lead. I'm not really sure what happened there, and then since I pitted early, 2 stops before the end, I had to really stretch my fuel, and I was 4 laps short after the last stop, so I actually tried pushing the clutch in and really saving, and I ended up getting in the wall, getting some damage. So I feel lucky to have held on to second, but a couple things go differently. Maybe it could have ended up with a win. Dalton was so fast today, though. I would have had to been absolutely perfect because yeah, he was just on the money today for sure, as always.
And talking about being fast in the race, you definitely had the pace outright. I chalked you up throughout the course of the race, but walk me through what that strategy call was with the 2-tire stop on that second caution flag of the race. Did you think it was overall going to be as good as it was, or were you just trying to take a shot in the dark there?
Well, I practiced a little bit, and I saw we only had 20 laps on our tires, and my lefts were honestly like 98, 97 there. So before the race even started, I kind of told myself if we get a shortish run and a lot of people pit, I'm going to take 2 tires because it actually loosened me up, and the car handled actually really good that run. So being able to get the lead there and kind of control the race for a while was really nice. But yeah, just in the middle there, I pitted 6 or 7 laps before I was out of fuel, and then Dalton ran it long. And I should have just ran it long as well. I didn't want to get jumped by him pitting early, and it ended up not being the right strategy, I don't think. But like I say, I don't think it would have mattered. Dalton was so good today.
Well, you did a bang-up job, and I'm glad I'm the one talking to you, because if Andrew heard 6-7, he'd be making jokes again. So, great to see that you're so content with that second-place finish. And, Andrew got one more question in because this race went so quick, and I think I'm going to get one more in myself. Even with being content on that second place finish, you had the speed, you had the ability to go up there and race for this win. Do you think that this type of racetrack, these short track type intermediate styles, are going to be tracks we see you running more up front at as the season goes on, or do you think you're just kind of finding your way as the season goes?
Well, as long as it's not Martinsville or Bristol or maybe Richmond and road courses, I guess I'm pretty bad there. Everywhere else, I feel good. I think I'm best at the 1.5 and the 2 miles, but the problem is everybody's kind of really good there. So last year in this league, I got a win at New Hampshire, kind of the same track as this. So I think where you have a lot of off throttle time and there's different lines and, tracks like here, Darlington, Dover, New Hampshire, those might suit me a little more, even though they're maybe not my favorite. They might suit me a little bit better because just, with it being a fixed setup, you have more control in your hands, I feel like.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on your second place finish on the day. We figured we'd be talking to you in victory lane, but hey, still really great showing out here tonight, especially after some contact with Guileless that almost took you out of that race. So great race, great save, by the way, when that happened, and congratulations on your second place finish.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's definitely good to talk to you for the first time this year.
Absolutely. Content second place finisher Chase Durheim, and you should be standing by, Andrew, with our third place finisher, Mr. Kenneth Cheney.
Yeah, and Kenneth obviously put a great race together again today. It's been a little bit since we've seen you this far up at the end of a race, though, Kenneth. And, you've had great speed just like so many other drivers in this series this season, but it just seems like circumstance after circumstance holds you back. But tonight, third place. How many more laps did you need to get Chase?
Man, if I could have just had like 2, maybe 1 more lap. I'm going to say 1 more lap. If I just had 1 more lap, I think I could have gotten him for sure. You just stall out with the dirty air in these cars, and it's just so hard to make a pass, especially when the tires are so old. Like that was a blast trying to catch him there and trying to battle him there at the end for sure. So,
and of course, the idea here is to run a retro cup series, flashback to 2005, and kind of capture some of that magic all over again. You guys have been doing a great job of that, but today especially, 160 to the end there, that has to have worn you guys out. What was it like in the car, in the sim, wrestling these cars for 160 straight at Phoenix?
Man, I tell you what, my arms are dead right now. That was rough there. Like those 160 laps, like it was a blast. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, it was definitely rough. Like my arms are dead. Like I'm like drenched right now and everything. So yeah, and mentally, like I'm just so exhausted after that for sure. But I mean, I'm glad that we had that long green flag run. Like I feel like that definitely like suits to my strengths usually instead of these like quick cautions and whatnot. So.
And of course, looking ahead, we've got a bunch of driver racetracks coming up. Yes, Talladega. I mean, in these cars, it takes a little more skill, I feel like, maybe than what you see today. But Talladega next week, let's skip that. Let's go forward to Darlington, Richmond, and Charlotte. 3 straight really tough racetracks coming up that are quintessential NASCAR tracks, historic NASCAR tracks. Is that maybe where you can kind of get back into the swing of things and maybe try to get one of these wins finally?
Yeah, I definitely I'm liking Richmond a lot. That's one I have circled on the calendar for sure. Yeah, those are definitely driver tracks that I really hope. I think I can really win with Richmond. I think so. But I know I got to put together like these finishes. Got to keep finishing up here in the top 5, top 3, and just keep building that momentum. I feel like so we can fix that. Yeah, I definitely feel like we can start popping off some wins.
Well, good to talk to you again, Kenneth. It's been a little bit, and clearly the 14 is still turning nicely and getting good finishes. Hopefully we'll talk to you again soon.
All right, thank you, guys.
A big day at the office for Kenneth Cheney. 3rd place today in this 187-lapper at Phoenix International Raceway. And this is a great race, Zach. This is... it wasn't necessarily the most exciting. It certainly had great drama and great moments, but this was just a classic butt whooping by Tucker and Durheim, and it just so happened that when Durheim had the issue with Guileless, Tucker was there to take advantage and power away to the win. Doesn't look like Zach actually stepped away for just a moment, so I'll continue on here, of course, talking about the rest of these races coming up soon.
My microphone was muted.
There he is.
I didn't realize it was muted. I went off mic while you did your last interview, and I just forgot to turn it back on.
Well, same question, I guess, more of a statement stands, right? That this was a classic butt whooping, and I think a good, refreshing sight when we have so many races, not just on iRacing, but in reality, that get loaded up with cautions, and it's kind of start, stop. This was cool to just see these guys go and race.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Completely 100% agree. And I would like to see this specifically replicated at a track like Darlington. I know it's going to be a little bit harder. I know Darlington is a little bit more technical than Phoenix can be at times, especially with how you run 1 and 2 compared to 3 and 4. But it does have certain applicable qualities. You run 1 and 2 different than you run 3 and 4 here at Phoenix as well. It's a very flat racetrack at times with some technical banking sections. I think that it can be easily replicated there.
Yeah, I mean, a bunch of the racetracks coming up. I hope to see a lot of this same kind of racing out of these guys. Darlington, Richmond, Charlotte, Dover, Pocono, Michigan, they all apply, and I think Talladega, it'd be nice to have some breaks here and there to mix things up and save it from getting too stretched out on fuel strategy. I would say for Sonoma, obviously it'll be caution-free, I would think, unless there's something massive that happens. So, we can toss that in the bin. Montreal, too. Daytona, again, kind of like Dega. I'd like some breaks in there. But then when we get back to Pocono in July, certainly hoping to see clean racing, long runs there again. Same for Indianapolis. I think a lot of these racetracks are fitting what these guys did today. And if they can bottle this up and keep using it, keep doing this the rest of the season, or at least through the summer, we've got some great races ahead of us. And certainly, always a great reason to tune in to a NORA Retro Cup Series race here on Monday nights on Pit Stop TV. Now, that said, Zach, it is time to go ahead and award our Driver of the Day honors to somebody who I think flew under the radar in a lot of ways, but is certainly going to deserve it. By the end of the day here, this guy put together, 13 spots from the start of the race. And when you only have 2 cautions, they both come out early, Zach, that is a really tough thing to do. 13 spots, just straight up green flag racing, hard to pass. Donald Kite able to grab all those positions and fight up to 14th today.
I think that was really, really great to see, because he put in one heck of a performance to get up there, and not to mention, he needs these runs. I think he's got some getting tongue-tied. Some substantial pace, there it is, as we roll into these next stretch of races. We've seen him be relatively there, and I think he's got some good headway to make some ground up as the season goes on.
So there you go, a bunch of spots gained for Donald Kite today. And, I think the big thing to remember about driver of the day, Zach, is it's not best driver of the day. It's not fastest driver of the day. It's driver of the day. Who made an impact? Who surprised us? Who was memorable out of today's race? And I think he was kind of unmemorable in a memorable way. All these spots gained. Quiet, under the radar, clean car at the end of the race. I think that is worth talking about and worth the award here for Donald Kite. So congratulations to Donald grabbing today's driver of the day honors. Next up for us, of course, we talked about it earlier, but here is one more look at it. We head out to Bristol Motor Speedway. We've been there recently with this NORA Retro Cup Series, but now we're taking the Next Gen cars back out for the All-American Racing Network Bully Dog Coffee Company Next Gen Cup Series. I'm excited for that this Sunday, the March 29th. I'm excited, but Talladega, I honestly, Zach, between these two, I think I'm a little bit more excited to go to Talladega, but both of these races are going to be a lot of fun. And then look at that. We've got some dirt racing back in the mix for the first time in a long time. We've got some potentially regular, I think not every Wednesday. We want to do some legend car stuff on Wednesdays here at Pit Stop TV and Whiplash Racing League, but a handful of Wednesdays coming up. We've got the Dirt Sprint Car Championship Series heading to Pit Stop TV again very soon. This is an old partnership that has been rekindled between Brody Wilhelm and I, and it's good to see that logo back on the broadcast and know that in just over a week, we've got sprint cars on track at I-55 in Peevely, Missouri, and I'm excited, Zach. I know it's not exactly your forte, but 410 sprint cars are a marvel of racing, and I'm just excited to see what these guys can do.
Well, you've known them a lot longer than I have, and it's going to be like a fresh face, which is new to me in some cases here on Pit Stop TV, because we have been on, what's the word I'm looking for? We've been on kind of rinse and repeat with the same series week in, week out. Not to say or disregard the series that we have been broadcasting, because they have been amazing races, but it's nice to put something else into the lineup, change it up a little bit, try something new, or bring back something.
It's new and old at the same time, so we're excited to get going with 410 sprint cars very soon. There will be some winged races, some wingless races. You can keep up with everything Pit Stop TV on the social media links down below, primarily Facebook, Instagram, for notifications as to when we've got a broadcast coming up and some other content like that, but also some content over on TikTok. I got to get back working on that. I promise I will soon. And of course, we also broadcast to YouTube and Twitch. X is kind of sitting back there. Technically, we're still on there, but not a main platform for us here in 2026. So you can keep up with everything on those platforms down below. Zach, any final thoughts here from Phoenix International Raceway?
No, I'm just ready to get on to the next race, I'll say. Ready to see more action and have more fun with it.
Well, thanks for watching here this evening. Another big thank you to Harpoon Design and Clark Contracting for having us on board this season with the National Oval Racing Association Retro Cup Series in 2026. And a big thank you to our partners here at the channel, Whiplash SimCams, MXWraps.com, ATVO, Murtis Esports, CC's Business, and the North American Racing League. That'll do it for us today from Phoenix International Raceway. Yes, the old version of this racetrack. It sucks to say goodbye, but it's only goodbye for now. We'll see Phoenix again later this season. Until then, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you all next time here on Pit Stop TV. Here we go, back up to a restart. Quickly, let's go over the overtime rules. We're about to go back green, but we get 2 laps, a green lap, a white lap, and then checkered. If the green lap is completed, the race is official. If the green lap is not completed, we re-rack and restart, and we do it all over again. After all 3 attempts are used, a caution can end the race. Here we go, green flag back in the air. We are racing again here at California. Already contact there with Joe Lawrence. He's trying to hang on. He pedals the car, but it holds up Noah Rainwater. Out front is Vicente Salas, and it is Lane Riggs.
A heck of a save by Joe Lawrence as they are single file. Riggs and Salas duking it out, trying to do what they can to fight each other for this win. Riggs is trying to find a way around on the top side, but as they come around, it's going to be white flag in the air presented by Whiplash Simcams. We are going to make this race official, and we're going to finish it on my favorite number. White flag is in the air. Riggs underneath Salas for the lead.
For the lead and the win here at Auto Club Speedway, Lane Riggs finally gets down to the inside of Vicente Salas through turns 1 and 2. Can he hold on to it? Side by side, still down the back straightaway.
Riggs is going to do everything he can, but he's by himself. He's not going to have the drafting help as Slow is up top, trying to decide who he's going to push. The nose in front goes
Big
to Riggs. Slow goes to the bottom.
Big
Riggs
send for Slow. He's going to move up the racetrack now. Brandon Slow driving Lane Riggs to the wall. It's going to be a straight-up drag race down to the stripe. Who's going to get there first? It's going to be... I don't know. Vicente Salas, I think, has done it again.
What a finish!
Wow!
What a run to the end by these drivers. Officially, Salas gets it, and Slow and Riggs tie 17 100ths of a second, 17 1,000ths of a second behind Salas.